Part, my stepmother demanded I pay rent for living in my own house, while her kids lived there for free. When I refused, she tried to get my dad to kick me out. But when I revealed the truth about who actually owns the house, everything changed. The house felt strange in its newfound silence. I wandered from room to room, straightening things they'd left askew in their hurried departure, trying to process everything that had happened. It wasn't until mid-afternoon that my phone rang. Dad's name flashed across the screen. I took a deep breath before answering. Hello? What the hell do you think you're doing? Dad's voice exploded through the speaker. I had to hold the phone away from my ear. Sandra just called me in hysterics. How could you be so cruel? Something inside me snapped. After years of trying to keep the peace, of staying quiet, of being the good daughter, I'd had enough. Cruel? I cut him off mid-rant. That's interesting, Dad. Where was all this concern about cruelty when your wife tried to charge me rent for living in my own house? Did you think that was kind? There was a pause on the other end of the line. When Dad finally spoke again, his voice was quieter, uncertain. What are you talking about, Sandra? Never. Don't, my voice was shaking now. Don't you dare pretend you didn't know. I heard you on the phone with her this morning, Dad, when she was trying to convince you to make me move out, and you agreed to it. Remember that conversation? The silence that followed was deafening. I could practically see him squirming, the way he always did when caught in a lie. Ruby, honey, you don't understand, he finally said, his voice weak. Then suddenly, it hardened again. You're destroying this family, Ruby. Is that what you want? Sandra is threatening to divorce me over this? I sank down onto the couch, the same couch where Melissa used to sprawl for hours while I did her share of the housework. She says she'll divorce you unless I apologize? For what? For owning my own house. For standing up for myself. She's my wife, Dad's voice cracked. She says either you apologize for how you treated her and her children, or she's leaving me. Is that what you want? To ruin my marriage? I looked around the living room at the photos on the walls, mostly of Sandra's family now, with just one small picture of Mom still tucked away in the corner. When I spoke again, my voice was steady. I'm not apologizing, Dad, not for this. The line went dead. He'd hung up on me. My graduation day came and went like a blur. The ceremony was beautiful, but the empty seats in the family section felt like a physical weight on my chest. My best friend Sarah's parents took photos of us together and invited me to their celebration dinner. They didn't mention the obvious absence of my family, but their hugs lasted a little longer than usual. I spent the next couple of days sorting through college acceptance letters and trying to figure out my next steps. The house felt both empty and peaceful, until a familiar car pulled into the driveway one afternoon. Dad got out first, followed by Sandra, James and Melissa. They looked like they were headed to a business meeting rather than visiting family, all dressed up and wearing identical stern expressions. I met them at the door before they could knock. Ruby, Dad said, his voice formal. Sandra stood just behind his shoulder, nodding encouragingly, like he was a puppet, and she was pulling the strings. We've come to resolve this situation. I leaned against the doorframe, waiting. I'm willing to forgive your recent behavior, he continued, choosing his words carefully. We can all move back in, and things can go back to normal.